there has been a movement, as we've been talking about lately, this calling MAGA weird, which I love. I think it is sticks. I think it works. And one of the main reasons why I think this sticks and works is because for so many years, all we talked about Donald Trump and how scary he was and how, you know, off the rails crazy he was, and that makes him scary. But using the word weird, I think, is just perfect because it does now diminish who he is as a person, and it actually exposes a little bit more of who he is as a person. He's a clown. He's always been a clown and somebody that you should never have taken seriously. Now, again, we talked about this last time. His policies you take seriously. The people that surround him, we take seriously. But him personally, nobody has ever really taken him seriously. If you've ever asked the people in New York that were actual builders, who were actual real estate moguls, they would all say he was just nobody that they would take seriously, that he was a clown, that people laughed at him, and people would laugh and say, I put my whole life into building this company and these real estate buildings and all this stuff, and I did it from scratch. He has done nothing. He has put his name on a lot of buildings, and a lot of the times the reason why his name was on these buildings is because he couldn't pay for it anymore. And so the banks, instead of foreclosing on the building, said, you have a name, and instead of shutting this thing down, let's just give you royalties for your name, so that way we could keep this moving. That's basically what happened with him on a lot of things. You notice the casinos with his names on it, gone. They were gone. He absolutely destroyed the casino business. In fact, he was so bad at casinos, he has a building with his name on it in the casino capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Do you know the one thing they told him that they will not allow for him in the casino capital of the world? They said there is absolutely no way we're giving you a gambling license because you are garbage. So he couldn't even get a gambling license in Las Vegas, Nevada. So that should tell you just how awful he was at running the businesses, or the so-called businesses. Lana and I talked about this too last week. A lot of his money came from from his dad dying, and he got like over 400 million, I believe it was. It was definitely in that ballpark of inheritance. And also too, there was a big story in the New York Times about how he ripped off his family. He ripped off his own parents to get more money. But going back to the weird thing sticks, but they interviewed Donald Trump about it. I think it must have been either today or yesterday, because I just saw this clip. They were asking him about being weird, and this is what he had to say.
They're the weird ones, and if you've ever seen her with the laugh and everything else, that's a weird deal going on there. They're the weird ones. Nobody's ever called me weird. I'm a lot of things, but weird I'm not, and I'm up front. And he's not either, I will tell you. JD is not at all. They are.
Yeah, I could tell this is like really getting to him. He does not like this weird thing at all. So I find it actually pretty funny that it's getting to him. But that's exactly what they are. They are weird. And somebody else that is super weird is this Jesse Waters. This is another thing that they're doing now, that if you are a man and you vote for Kamala Harris, that you're not a real man, that you have some sort of issues. I think they're going to allude to that you're gay or whatever. Of course, I know that there are some gay people who vote for Donald Trump. So how does that work? I don't know. But he's on the 5 the other day, and I think this is part Jesse Waters thinking he's the funny guy and comedian on that show. And it's every time he talks, it's just absolutely cringy. But he's on the show the other day, and this is him talking about people if you were going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Why any man would vote Democrat. It's not the party of virtue, security. It's not the party of strength. It's definitely not the party of family. And to be a man and then vote for a woman just because she's a woman is either childish, that person has mommy issues, or they're just trying to be accepted by other women. And I heard the scientists say the other day that when a man votes for a woman, he actually transitions into a woman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what the science says.
Science says that.
I would imagine that's him just trying to be funny. There's no way he heard scientists say that, obviously. But, you know, I think the thing that bothers me and concerns me the most is that this is like he's on a national news channel. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about on our news channels anymore. This is not, you know, Ted Koppel and Walter Cronkite and guys like that anymore. The roundtables that you used to have back in the days were actual journalists who were talking about real things. But now we have Jesse Waters and who's the other clown that's on the 5 that thinks he's hilarious? Greg Gutfeld, you know, talking about whether or not voting for somebody, whether or not you're a man and whether or not, I mean, what he's talking about, the parties of virtues and strength. I can assure you, there's nothing strong about Donald Trump. He's a weak-minded individual. He talks tough, and sure, he can run over you when he's talking about dumb shit, but he's a weak, pathetic, so-called man. He just is. This is a guy who is already setting up to not debate Kamala Harris in the next debate. That's exactly what is happening. And you're going to call him the guy of strength? And by the way, all these guys that are saying this too, people like Jesse Waters and Ben Shapiro and who are the other ones? Charlie Kirk, all these kind of guys. I would give anything to see them throw a baseball at each other or a football and see how that works out for them. There's nothing manly about these guys. Nothing. Like literally nothing manly about them. They are just all sad clowns who I do believe probably were picked on in high school. They probably are very bitter about how they were treated when they were young. And quite frankly, if that is the case, I feel bad for them. And I hope that did not happen. And, you know, there would be some sympathy for these guys had they not, you know, gone down some sort of road of now trying to be the tough, manly guy when it just does, you know, it doesn't resonate at all. But